just making my way out of Kaluma. Spent the night there. I had no idea where Steve was yesterday. I rode all day alone. I did get a message from him about 5 o'clock asking where I was, and I sent a message back telling him I was in Kaluma, but I never heard back from him until about 8 o'clock that night, and he said he was in a hotel in a village about 2 hours up the road from that. Well, I'm on my way back up into the Andes again, and the western side of the Andes is very tropical. It's a rainforest here. This is quite a dense jungle. Steve rode this road last night in the dark. I would say that's a crazy thing to do. Anyways, hopefully we connect later on today and continue our adventure. This road isn't like the other highway coming down. This is a very, very secondary road. Narrow, twisty, tight, right through the jungle. No wonder Google Maps said it's going to take about 4 hours to go 143 kilometers. Okay, this road, which was a secondary road when it was paved, has now turned to gravel, and I suspect it's going to be like this for quite a while. Anyways, that's what we came to do, is ride these back roads, and this is a back road through the jungle of Ecuador going up into the Andes. And just a little side note, Steve rode this last night in the dark. I don't know why he did that, but that was his choice. I'll try and make my way through and try and connect with him in Rio Balbi in about 3 hours. Hola! I don't know how long this gravel road's going to go on, but it's been going on for about 45 minutes, and I suspect it'll be another hour or an hour and a half before I get to Rabata, where Steve stayed last night. I'm not alone out here. There are lots of people living out here. Every few kilometers I come by a dwelling or a little village like this one. I suppose people are just out here. What's this? They just pick a spot, build a house, and live here. What is this? Crossing a little river here, heading up the other side. So I suspect I'll be climbing again. So I just stopped and cleaned my visor so I can talk while I'm riding here. And I'm going to tell you a little story about what happened yesterday. Adios! So yesterday, as we were leaving Laguna de Quilotoa, about 2 minutes after we left the little village, he said, "Dunk, I'm going to stop and fly my drone." He says, "You go ahead and I'll catch up." I said, "Okay, great." I couldn't figure that out because he had just flown his drone over the lake, which there was absolutely gorgeous vistas to video of, and where he stopped there was nothing. So I thought, well, maybe he just wants to play with his drone or practice or something. But anyways, off I went, and I rode the 12K back out to the main road, and got to the corner, and I thought, well, I'll just wait here for him and he'll be along in a few minutes. And so I waited 20 minutes and he didn't come. But I knew his drone batteries last only about 20 minutes, and I thought, well, his battery must be dead, so you'll have to bring it back and he'll be along shortly. So I just took off and rode very slowly up the hill and in the direction we agreed to go, and got to a viewpoint at the top of the hill and stopped again and took out my cameras and took some pictures and made some more videos and waited a few more minutes, and he still hadn't come. So I thought, well, it's got to be along soon. So I took off again, riding really slowly, and so that he could catch me. And didn't show up. So I stopped, changed the battery of my camera, and waited a few more minutes, and still no Steve. And I thought, well, what is going on? So I thought, well, I'll just carry on slowly. We both have the track. We sat there at breakfast and put the tracks in our GPS, and they were the exact same track, so we were on the same page then, but still no Steve. So I decided, well, I'll carry on. But by this time I'm starting to think, well, maybe I should go back. But I'd gone far enough now that if I went back, I wouldn't have enough fuel to get all the way out, or turn around and come back the way I was going. I would be having a fuel issue. So I thought, well, I'll go to the next town, find some gas, and then decide what I'm going to do. So it was about 30k to the next town. There was no gas station, but I was able to find gas along the side of the road from a family that was selling gas, and got my bike filled up. And I thought, now what am I going to do? Go back and look for him, or carry on? It was probably by this time 100k back to where we had started. I thought, he knows the track, he can call me and let me know what's happening, but still nothing was coming in. So, but I couldn't get anything until I got Wi-Fi anyway. So I looked, and there was a town about another 20k up the road. So I rode 20k up the road, and it was around lunchtime by this time, and stopped at this little comida where they were watching the soccer game between Ecuador and Qatar, and had a cup of coffee and watched a bit of the game. And I connected to Wi-Fi, but still no messages. But I sent him a few messages, and never heard anything back. But then I realized that I didn't have his Ecuadorian phone number. He switched SIM cards when we got into Ecuador, and he had a new phone number, and I never got it. I had his Mexican number and Canadian number, but not his Ecuadorian number. But he can phone me, but I can't phone him. But as soon as he contacted me via WhatsApp, then I would have his number, and then I could return that call. I thought, man, where do I even start looking for him? So I didn't know if he had decided to turn left instead of right when we got to the main road and head back the way we came. That wasn't the plan. So anyways, by this time it was too far to go back, and so I just carried on and went to another town about 50 or 60k down the road, connected with Wi-Fi again, but still no messages. And I thought, well, what I did then is I tried to contact Christine, his wife, but sent her a message but got nothing back. And then contacted Suzanne and see if she could contact Christine or Steve, and see if, well, Suzanne couldn't have contacted Steve because she didn't have his new number either, but see if Christine could, and see if we could make contact, but nothing. So I got to Kaluma and decided, well, this is where I'm staying. It's 5 o'clock and I'm not going to carry on in the dark. About 5:20 I started getting messages from him, but I didn't get them right away because I was in the process of checking in. And sure enough, he was in a town, Ventura, which was about 30 miles back from where I came from. And so I sent him a message saying, I'm in Kaluma, meet me here. And he sent me a message that tell me where you're at and I'll meet you there. But for some reason he didn't get that message. Must have got impatient and took off. I didn't hear anything else from him until about 9 o'clock that night, and then he says he's in Rumbada, which is 2 hours up the road. So he drove right through Kaluma, where I was staying, at about 6 o'clock when it was getting dark, and rode 2 hours up this dirt road that I'm riding right now to where he spent the night. I can't imagine what he was thinking riding this road in the dark. It's spooky enough riding it in the fog during the day. But anyways, we got a hold of each other this morning. He called me. I sent him several messages but never got him back, and he called me and says, oh, his phone was dead. He never charges his phone at night. He only charges it on his bike, and I think sometimes that's a bit hit and miss with all the vibrations. So his phone was dead, so he wasn't getting any of my messages. So he fired up his computer this morning and contacted me on his computer via Messenger, and we've agreed to meet at a hotel in Rio Bambo later on today. So let's see if that happens. We've been warned many times, do not ride at night. I'm putting along here at between 10 and 15 kilometers per hour, I suppose. I can't go too much faster as the fog is so thick. I've got about 60 meters of visibility, so it's very difficult to see. Even I can't see anything coming up. As you can see, it's I can only see about 40 meters in front of me, so I have to take it pretty slow. I was giving Steve a hard time about riding this in the dark, but he probably had better visibility than I do right now. Well, you won't have to put up with this annoying windscreen anymore. It has broken, and I am going to take it off, and I'll be riding without it. So that's the last you'll see of this little annoying windscreen. Just another quick little side note while we're riding up the road here. When I stopped in that little comida for lunch yesterday to wait for Steve, I got there just before Ecuador had scored their second goal. And the owner of the comida was sitting right in the middle of the restaurant. He saw me coming in and he jumped up, came out, shook my hand and said, "No, sit right here." And I sat right in the middle of the restaurant and had the best seat in the house to watch the soccer game. And then shortly after that, Ecuador scored their second goal and they went crazy in there. It was absolutely magical. It was like being in Canada during a hockey game when they're playing for the gold medal in the Olympics. Every town that I went through, they shut down the main street, had stages set up, and big TVs, and the entire town was there watching the hockey game or the soccer game on the main street of every town that I went through. It was just a magical time to be in Ecuador. So that was a unique part of yesterday as well. So there was two stories going on. Everybody was so happy after that. They were still partying hours and hours after the game. I'm really glad Ecuador won. I couldn't imagine what would have been like here if they had lost. Much better view without that little windshield on there. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of little town that Steve stayed in last night. I was lucky. I stayed in a hotel and I got the suite for 20 bucks a night with a king-size bed, view of the pool, and hot water in the shower. And that was wonderful. There's all that fog I rode through down there. Oh, okay, I've stopped here so we can have a good look. The road looks like it snakes down and around that way. As usual, there's a lot of people living along this road. People living right here. In front of me, a family's riding on a motorcycle. They've got 3 people on there, mom and a pop and a little baby. That's their mode of transportation up here. Try and pass them safely so I don't scare them. Oh man, there's more on there. Off to my left is a ravine with a little creek running through it, and there's quite a few houses down there, and they've got the steep sides of the ravine all cultivated with things growing on them, their crops. There's no flat part in the bottom of the ravine, so they put the crops up on the sides of the mountains. There's a bit of landslide here, so they're getting it all cleaned up. We're just coming into Guano, which is one of the Pueblos Magicos, and we're just going to check it out. It's supposed to be one of the beautiful little cities. We are now in the town square, and it is a pretty little town.
We are in the town square of Guano. Pretty quiet here today, but it may, the vendors and everybody might show up later on this afternoon. But this is kind of cool here. The weather is about the same every day. It's about 19 or 20 degrees. We're at 10,000 vertical feet. And it's a very pleasant climate here year-round. Goes down to about 8 degrees at night and then up to about 21 during the day. It's dry here, it's not humid. Very comfortable climate. The only difference that changes is how much moisture you get. We're in the rainy season now, so it rains pretty much every day in the afternoon. So we get up early, do our riding in the morning, and then get off the road by 3 or 4 in the afternoon before it starts to rain. And that's been our agenda for the last couple of weeks. Taking a picture of this monument here, but look in the background. Huge thunder clouds rolling in, and the thunder is starting right now, so our riding might be done for the day. And here's this lovely lady to greet everybody that comes to Guano. This is a nice way to greet people as they come into your little city.
We just ran into a nice young man who was going to take us up to a viewpoint above Guano here, and there are hotels up there. We may spend the night. That's his lovely wife up there, and that's his house. We just stored our helmets and stuff in there while we went and had a view of the city center, and that's him at the end of the line there, and he's going to show us the way up. Hey, we're on our way out of the city. See how this goes. People are always so nice and friendly. Whenever we need some help, somebody shows up and gives us a hand. It's amazing. We are on the road to Benende. This young man has offered to show us the way up there. We don't even know his name yet. But I really appreciate that, because I'm not sure we would have found it without his help. Although Google Maps did show a route, and as I found out earlier, it's not, it will show you dirt roads, as it took me on a 60-mile dirt road track through the mountains this morning.
Okay, there's our bikes parked out in the front of this bar, and this is where Eder is taking us for a beer. And there is the wood-fired stove cooking, I think, potato pancakes filled with cheese, and they are delicious. They brought us a couple out for appetizers. The little restaurant, the restaurant that we're going to have a beer at. And the best thing about this is the view out back here. Check this out. This is an amazing view. And that's our new bud Eder talking with Steve.
We are up in the mountains of the Andes, and we are going to stay in this village called Benepe. It is a Pueblo Magico. We are going to find a hotel and spend the night here. Look at this. Wow. This is nice. Oh, check that out. Look what that guy's eating. That looks good. And that's where it came from. These little street side vendors make awesome meals. I'm glad we're back in the square looking for a hotel. I'd rather have a hotel somewhere around here. Steve is working his magic here, trying to find a hotel. Okay, unfortunately, we cannot find a hotel in town here, but like it's only literally a block and a half walk to get back here, so it's not a big deal. There's good restaurants. The one we were in, I think I'd go back there and eat tonight. It looked awesome, so yeah, and the hotel is right over here in one block. That's all it is, so I could deal with that.